coaches help you take you out the forest so you can see wood for the trees.
Yeah.
You can make those longer term strategic decisions that you absolutely need to take. Whereas when you're in the moment, you can't always see it, and coaches help you take you above, don't they?
Absolutely. And it's interesting, so many times I'm working with clients, I'm just asking questions, and often they know their own answers.
Yeah.
But the act of being in a situation like this, where there's nothing else around, it's just the two people, whether it's in a room or on Zoom, whatever, on the phone even, just gives them the time and space to focus. And as a coach, I'll ask the questions that perhaps they don't ask themselves.
Okay, so welcome to the Success Mindset YouTube channel. I'm Damien Ellis, and we're joined today by Jeremy Lazarus. Thank you for joining us, Jeremy.
Thank you, Damien.
And today, Jeremy is obviously an expert coach. He's coached people for many, many years, and he's done a series of videos with us. And today he's going to be talking about the power of coaching. And hopefully a lot of people will know what it is. But just so we've got that kind of understanding, how would you define coaching, Jeremy?
Well, I often talk about this on some of my training courses. I think it's a collaborative conversation where the coach facilitates the client to be, do, and have more of what they want to be, do, and have. So whether that's in work, in sport, in their life generally, in relationships, it's how can they stop doing the things that aren't helpful and do more of the things that are helpful in order to achieve their goals.
Absolutely. And if you think about, there's always a drive at the start of every year with New Year's resolutions and self-change and all this stuff. Yeah. And, people give them up within 10 days of starting.
Yeah.
So if you're coaching someone, how do you get them to make that effective, sustainable change? How do you get the sustainability?
Yeah. Okay. So first thing, I don't believe in New Year's resolutions, because if you want to do something, do it. Don't wait till the 31st of December or the 1st of January. If you want to do it, do it. So how to make sustainable change? I think it's a combination of my client being really clear on why they want to do it, what's the purpose and the real benefits. If there happen to be any negative consequences, to address those, and maybe embrace those if necessary, and then to set clear goals and move towards it. And if there are obstacles, address them. And keep your eyes on the prize, I think, is a useful thing. So keep your eyes on the goal and the goal beyond the goal as well, and the purpose of doing it.
And when you're coaching someone, if you're coaching someone towards a specific goal or just to take ownership, take that agency back, how important is self-awareness for people?
When you say self-awareness, you mean being aware of how they're responding and their emotions? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think that, their emotional intelligence, how they control their emotions, how they understand their own behaviours and the reasons they do things. How?
I think it helps a lot. If people are aware that, for example, the reason they're nervous about a particular, or the reason they're not doing a particular task is because they feel a bit nervous about it, and they feel nervous about it because of blah, 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 then they're more likely to be able to address it than if it's, I just don't want to do that. You see what I mean? So I think if people are willing to ask themselves or to look inside, often the answers are there.
That, it kind of brings me on to something I was really keen to get your opinion about. And I know that when we had our pre-call a few weeks ago, and I mentioned, would you be happy to talk about this? And I think it's really interesting, around how social media has impacted people and their mindsets. And sure. I guess in coaching, you must see the impacts of social media a lot, but there almost tends to be, people are looking for external validation and, constantly looking for that validation and feedback from other people. How do you think it's affected people? Is it positive or negatively? What's your take?
All right. So I can only give you my take, and I want to preface it by saying I'm a lot older than most people who use social media, and I'm older than I look. So I think in many ways, social media has got the wrong name. It should be called anti-social media. because whilst there can be great things that can help people to keep in touch and whatever, one, it can stop people from actually just having a conversation with someone. I've heard of stories of people around a dinner table, instead of just talking, they're texting each other or making, doing stuff on Facebook or Twitter, whatever. I think particularly with younger people now, there's so much, someone calls it fake book rather than Facebook, where people are presenting an image which isn't necessarily reality, it's just an image, and everyone's trying to live up to it. So that everyone's trying to live up, not everyone, but some of their friends are trying to live up to an image of someone which isn't true. And I think I personally, with my clients, I tend not to have clients who do that much on social media. But I know from a societal point of view, it does cause problems. So I know it can cause mental health issues. I've spoken to, one of my things I do, I'm a guest lecturer at a university. I spoke a couple of years back to one of my colleagues there, and she was saying that the students are struggling. There's a lot of mental health issues among students, partly because of the big student loans and whatever. But some of it is because they're so much on social media that it's detrimental to their health. So use it. My tip is just use it for positive stuff and live your life without social media as much as you can.
Cut out the rest of the noise.
Yeah, a lot of it is noise. I mean, do you really care what I had for breakfast this morning?
Yeah.
If I put a picture of what I had for breakfast, does it enhance your life, really?
And, I think my views are very, very similar to yours, Jeremy. I think that it can do a small amount of good, but I think on the whole, the self-validation and the constant need to drive forward and live for other people rather than yourself and your own fulfillment is quite damaging to people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we said this on a previous one of these previous sessions. I think Shakespeare said, above all else to thine own self be true. So be really true to yourself. And the fact that other people are apparently having a great time doing stuff, well, if it's not your thing, don't do it. Do what's true to you. And those are people who will be real leaders because they'll be authentic and it'll be sustainable. Yeah, it's really important as well.
Absolutely. And in terms of coaching then, so, not everyone might be able to access people like yourself. Maybe they won't have the knowledge, the know-how, the means or the resources maybe to get a really good coach. But if people want to take forward some of the methodology or the key tangible tools, is there any hints or tips you can give people that they can take away and start putting into process to enhance their lives?
Okay, so obviously there are loads of books and videos on coaching. One of the useful, let me give you two really useful coaching models. They're very straightforward. So one is called the GROW model. So G is for goal. So what do you want? R is the reality, where are you now? So let's say somebody wants to run a marathon in 3 hours. Reality is I've run one in 3.5 hours. O stands for options. What options do I have to go from where I am to where I want to be? And explore all the options as much as possible, and maybe ask other people for for their suggestions. And then the W is what and when what are you going to do, when you're going to do it. So to use that coaching approach for your own life, I think is really useful. And linked to that, you could also, with a GROW model, the O could also, you could assume it stands for obstacles. So what obstacles are there that are getting in the way of you achieving your goal, and address those. So go for what you want to go for and address the obstacles that are on the way. And if you need help from other people, we'll ask.
And, when you've coached, I mean, obviously with confidentiality, you wouldn't be able to name names or anything like that, but could you give any examples of just the power of coaching and any people you might have, any impacts you've had on people that have really pushed them through to the next level, working with yourself? Just so people can kind of get that momentum and think, do you know what, that's amazing. I really want to do something.
Okay. So I'll give you 2 or 3 quick examples. One, there was a guy I coached who was a partner in the firm of accountants. He said he had 4 sessions with me and he made £1 million as a result. Basically, he was just focused. He just focused on what was absolutely essential, delegated or stopped doing the stuff that wasn't. I just focused on the key thing. There was another one actually linked to that. There was one of my, again, I can't give names, one of my clients a few years ago was chief exec of an entertainment business, and 70% of their profits came from about 5 or 10% of their activities. And I said to him, how much time do you spend on those 5 to 10% of the activities? He said 25%. I said, how much ideally would you spend? He said 45%. So the coaching was, what could he delegate or stop doing or delegate such that he could spend sufficient time on those artists and activities that would help them to achieve their profits.
Absolutely.
And for 2 years on the trot, they had record profits, and they were in the Sunday Times top 100 companies to work for.
Absolutely.
So I'll give you a couple of examples.
It does. It really instills the power of coaching as well, because it helps take people. I mean, the way I've always thought of it is, people can have all of the tools and the skills, but coaches help you take you out the forest so you can see wood for the trees.
Yeah.
You can make those longer term strategic decisions that you absolutely need to take. Whereas when you're in the moment, you can't always see it, and coaches help you take you above, don't they?
Absolutely. And it's interesting, so many times I'm working with clients, I'm just asking questions, and often they know their own answers.
Yeah.
But the act of being in a situation like this, where there's nothing else around, it's just the 2 people, whether it's in a room or on Zoom, whatever, on the phone even, just gives them the time and space to focus. And as a coach, I'll ask the questions that perhaps they don't ask themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Jeremy, it's been a pleasure as always. Thank you so much for your time today with our channel. I really appreciate your time.
My pleasure, Damien. Thank you.
And from all of us at the Success Mindset YouTube channel, make your life a masterpiece, my friends. Go out and execute. There's some really great tips here from Jeremy. And also, don't forget, he's got a book coming out soon, so look out for that. And I can say from someone that has bought Jeremy's books before, they're a really, really great read, and you get some tangible takeaways as well. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Jeremy. And we'll see you again soon.